everybody, and welcome to Awesome Comics, your one-stop shop for everything comic book entertainment. I am your host, Walter Bernasiak, and today is a bonus episode of Awesome Comics. We are talking about X-Men Apocalypse, the new movie that just came out from Fox, and we're going to get into that in a moment. We have some special guests here, but first, I wanted to remind everybody that our usual Monday show went up on Monday, as per the regular, and that is a review of Flash Season 2, so go check that out if you didn't get to see it yet. Also, we have recent reviews of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, DC's Legend of Tomorrow Season 1, all those shows that just wrapped up over this past couple weeks. We have reviews for, so check those out. And I also wanted to promote the new Facebook page. That's facebook.com/awesomecomicshow. We have a ton of exclusive stuff that's going to go up on that page, so go ahead and like that. Porter will be reviewing Arrow Season 4 exclusively on the Facebook page. So you guys want to see his thoughts, go ahead and like the Facebook page. And as always, I want to thank you guys for your comments and suggestions about what you want to see us cover on the show. Keep commenting, and we will cover as much of what you want to see as possible. Okay, now that that's out of the way, get down to the...
Take a breath, man. Take a breath.
Did you guys seriously all in like one long stream?
I didn't breathe once. Okay, well, to my left over here, you guys know him. He doesn't really need an introduction. It's Doug Walker, folks.
Oh, you gave it to me anyway. That was nice. Do you know who I am?
Yes.
Hello.
All right. You. What's your name again? I haven't seen it before.
Brian Porter.
Brian Pioja. And
so fancy.
Our friend, she's finally back on the panel after a while. She got to do that awesome cutaway at Alley Cat Comics a couple weeks ago. Thanks for coming back on the show, Beth Hildigan.
Hey, how's everyone doing? I co-host Shark Jumping with my fiance Tim Sampson, and I talk about comic book movie stuff, including this lovely one that we are about to discuss right now.
You know, there are no comics there when you did that. You're like, comic books, it's like you were reviewing a table.
You know what?
If
it's close up on me right now, they can't see the table, so for all they know, there may be a slew of comics right
But then we're
in
going to
front
cut to
of
the
me.
wide shot.
It's called The Magic of Illusion.
Fine.
Magic of illusion. Okay, we're going to do first overall opinions, so what you guys thought overall of the movie, and no spoilers, but I'll give you guys a spoiler warning before we get into those. So, Beth, overall, what did you think of the movie?
Oh, God. Well, the overall reviews have been like 40 to 50%, and that's really where I am. Because there were a few things about this that I liked. I actually was one of the few people who actually liked Oscar Isaac's portrayal as Apocalypse. But Jennifer Lawrence needed to remember what acting is. And there was an entire scene in the middle of the movie that needed to be cut out entirely because we needed more action. We needed more from the Four Horsemen. Like, all they do is just walk around looking menacingly in their free costumes, courtesy of Apocalypse, and then they have like a 5-minute battle at the end, and then
5 minutes. Wait. It was a little longer than 5 minutes.
it felt like it was a very engaging battle. But yes, so that was my opinion. It was okay.
Okay, Porter?
I thought it was all right. I mean, I'll watch it over Batman vs. Superman, but
I don't know if that's much of a recommendation.
but it was long. It was drawn out, 2 hours and 24 minutes. It could have been cut down to an hour and 50 minutes max. It wouldn't have lost anything. In fact, I think it would have gained a little bit of a cohesion and just a better flow. And I think they should have done it that way. But what it had in time, it lacked in character development. And a lot of the characters were just kind of glazed over. There was only a few that really actually had a little time devoted to them and actual growth as characters. And it's kind of disappointing to see because a lot of these characters, it's our first view of them as children, in this era, and we needed that for this series to really go forward. And I just think they really missed the mark on it. So unfortunately, I didn't really like the movie a whole lot, but it was better than X3 or Wolverine Origins. So I mean, it was okay.
And Batman vs. Superman.
And Batman vs.
That's
Superman.
important to remember. That's better than Batman vs. Superman. Doug, what did you think overall?
My thoughts of the X-Men movies are complex in that I think technically there's only two really solid good ones, like technically good movies, and that's Days of Future Past and First Class. But the others, I'm an X-Men fan, and I'm kind of selfish this way. I like Wolverine, so I like movies that have a lot of Wolverine, and I'll get past all the stuff that has nothing to do with the comics because I just like seeing them. But I acknowledge they're kind of a mess, and they're kind of bleh, but I love it when I see the stuff. I'm like, oh, that was X-Men. There's the Magneto helmet. There's Psylocke doing the cool sword fist thing, and she actually kind of looks like Psylocke. And I think I'm about on the same range as I was with like the early X-Men movies, where there's going to be stuff that doesn't match X-Men, the comics, but it's kind of like those early films. They're trying to squeeze in a lot. They want to show, hey, there's Jubilee, hey, there's that character that you saw for a second, there's Archangel, there's Nightcrawler, and it's kind of like that. I say if you see the trailers and you're like, that might be okay, that's what you'll get. You're obviously not going to get your die-hard X-Men movie. There's way too much to fit in there. So I'm kind of with everybody. I thought it was all right. If you're looking for stuff to dislike about it, you'll find it. But if you're looking for something that's kind of like the early films and you thought they were okay and you thought the trailer looked okay, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get an okay film.
Right. I was pretty bored throughout the whole thing. I mean, because it's so long, I think that's part of it was just fatigue. There's a lot of stuff I could pick apart about it, but I'm going to mostly let you guys talk here. Overall, I didn't hate it or anything. I wasn't into most of it, except for Quicksilver. Make a Quicksilver movie.
Yes.
Make a Quicksilver movie, please. Please.
And the whole thing's going to be shot in slow-mo.
Yeah, I would totally see that.
It's going to be a 3-hour movie with actually a half hour of footage.
Right.
Is that what we saw?
Felt like that. Okay, so we're going to go into positives of the movie now. I'm going to give you guys a spoiler warning. We're going to talk spoilers now. If you haven't seen the movie, you come back. If you have seen it, go ahead and keep watching. Or if you don't care, like a lot of people don't, just keep watching anyway.
Yeah, the spoilers in this thing aren't that spoilery.
Right.
It's really, there isn't a lot that happens that isn't already hinted at in the trailer.
There's like one surprise that was kind of ruined by a trailer, but we're about to get into that now. Okay, so positives on the movie. What did you guys like about it? We'll go with Porter first. What did you think?
It was cool to see these characters. Young Jean Grey, young Cyclops. Liked seeing how they all interacted with each other. Yeah. Seeing Jean Grey deal with the heightening of her powers and just how she's having trouble controlling it with her dreams and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That was cool. Seeing Havoc and Scott was cool together. I liked them. Seeing the brothers together is the first time they're on screen. As always with these three movies, Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, Magneto, and Professor X respectively, are awesome.
They're
great.
So good. They're so committed.
Yeah, they're good together. They really get the characters, and I think they have a great feel to them. So I really like them. They were great. Oscar Isaac looked okay as Apocalypse.
Nose was weird though.
Just the nose?
I know a lot of people have a
nose
problem
stuck out
with
to me.
Yeah. He looked okay. I mean, I was kind of looking forward to seeing how Oscar Isaac was going to do it, but I didn't. He did it.
He did it.
That's all I could say about
That's
that. But it was kind of cool, like seeing everybody together and how they did it, how they really came together for the first time as X-Men. But
you're not just students anymore.
it was cool to see
X-Men.
It was cool to see Jubilee. The 30 seconds that we got to see Jubilee.
Yeah.
I don't even think they said her name.
How do we even know it's Jubilee? We never saw her actually
There's so
do
many
anything.
people that wear yellow jackets and crazy hair and sunglasses.
Big earrings.
So many.
Yeah.
She didn't even have yellow lipstick on. I call shenanigans.
But I like seeing her. I wish we could have gotten more. I know that they cut out a lot of her stuff out of the 2-hour and 24-minute movie, which is understandable, but it's still, I was like, damn it, come on.
It just seems like they could have added some of that stuff in and taken out other stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But there was one thing at the end I did kind of like. The two things at the end I did kind of like. I liked the mind battle that Professor X had with Apocalypse. Anytime you get to see Professor X go into the mind and like he's able to walk, he's able to do shit. In the comics, in the old TV shows, like I always thought that was a really big thing for Professor X, and it always shined. He was able to really strut. That's funny.
Did you feel that was a little bit, and maybe this is a trailer thing, that was a little bit of a ripoff because in the trailers, there he is. He's got his hand, he gets bigger and he pins him down, and he slams him against the wall. It's in the mansion. Dream! Like it's all in his head, and it's like that's because we've seen Apocalypse do that in the comics.
Yeah, but that's what
wasn't
people
that kind of a
wanted to
tease?
see in here. I wanted to see him get bigger. I was kind of pissed
But
that it was
really
only
get bigger, not in the mind get bigger.
Well, yeah, I was pissed about that. But it's like we actually got to at least see it, and we got to see him really get into a battle with Professor X, kind of until he pretty much kicked his ass, and asked for Jean Grey's help. But
my house now.
yeah, that was pretty cool. And then like the thing with Jean Grey at the end with the this Phoenix kind of coming out and she's tapping into the Phoenix power. That was cool, but still it seems kind of like that's another mutation of her mutation, and it's not the actual Phoenix force from the space.
There's a little spice, a little hint of it.
Yeah, so that kind of sucks because I figured hopefully if they were going to be doing Phoenix in this series, it it was going to be Phoenix Force coming down to Earth and taking over Jean Grey, but it doesn't seem like
I
they're
think
doing.
X3 went into more detail about the Phoenix, even
I'm
though
sure
it had nothing to do with the
it'll
Phoenix
be
that
more.
this one did.
It'll be more in the next movie, but it seems like they're going X3 route, where it's just another part of her mutation, and she has to learn to control it. And it's like they're heading in the same direction, and that's not good.
And
so.
well, I personally think that that's okay. I don't, I'm coming into it, by the way, as someone who has not read the comics. I have just seen the movies, so it's all based on the movies for me, and a little bit of the TV show. But when it comes to the Dark Phoenix being a part of her power and being a dark manifestation of the power, I think that that's really interesting because it gives her more culpability and responsibility, whereas opposed to if it's like when I hear alien thing from outer space, I hear she's not responsible. It's almost like an invasion on herself.
Well, it is, but you look at the other movie and you see how terribly it was done. So it's like, okay, you have another avenue that you could go for this. And in the comics, she's able to. She's Dark Phoenix, but then she's also regular Phoenix. She does good with the Phoenix Force in her, and she's able to control it. And that's a big part of her arc, is being able to control the alien presence in her body and make it her own. So I think that's a big deal with her, and so she does have the culpability to, completely stop this other entity from controlling her.
Am I right? The alien, force sort of enhanced what was inside her, mentally and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
but it also
coming
gave
from her. It's still kind of, but it enhances. So it's kind of like a battle. It's always kind of going on inside her.
But it also really gave her a lot of power too. Like it boosted her stuff, but it also is one of the biggest. It's like a huge force.
But the X-Men series, for the most part, hasn't really gone extraterrestrial. It's stayed largely within our own realm, and I think it's fine there. I don't know. I think that within the realm of the comics, having extraterrestrial forces works well. I don't know if it would work as well in a cinematic form. But that's just me.
I think you'd have to reboot it or tie it to the MCU.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you could do it. I mean, extraterrestrial in comic book movies is obviously fine, a la Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, so you could do it. Even if you have a little bit, I still think it would be well received.
I will say, if you were to do it now with what we've seen with the MCU, it's like people are just kind of used to it.
Right.
But I know what you're saying. It's like this universe has in no way established aliens.
No, and I'm specifically talking about the X-Men universe, not the larger Marvel comic universe. I'm specifically talking about how we've established X-Men and what it is and how their powers come about.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Doug, what was some of your favorite stuff?
I actually didn't mind Apocalypse that much. I always thought he was a boring character in the comics. He's just, I am God, I smash things, and he talked big, and that's kind of about it. And I get the powers. I know he is kind of like, he has these godlike powers, but it's still kind of boring. I never felt there was much meat to him. This guy, I liked how kind of reserved he was. It was kind of the opposite of what we've seen in the comics. He didn't scream, he kept very quiet, and I think he kind of knew people with real power don't yell. And so I like that he would just sort of stay in the shadows and keep quiet. And my favorite part of this movie is just him getting his posse together, getting his, 4 horsemen. And I'm saying to myself, there is nothing they can do that can match this buildup. Because, more than 50% of the movie is him just getting ready to do all this.
Just getting them in costumes.
He's getting them in those free costumes,
the face tattoos going on, Archangel.
Join Apocalypse, get a free outfit.
And even the outfit, trying to tie it to Egypt, fair enough, that's kind of clever. Apocalypse is not easy to bring to the big screen, so I totally get how difficult this was. And for it to come across kind of as well as it did, I'm kind of impressed, but yeah, on the far-off shots, he does look silly. Some of the close-ups, he does look silly, but Apocalypse is always kind of a silly design. Like you said, McAvoy and dude who plays Magneto.
Fassbender.
Are always great. I can't think of any acting. I know you'll disagree, but I can't think of any acting that was particularly bad or heinous or anything like that. It just seems like they're trying to squish so much.
Heinous.
Oh no, that's a word we use a lot. Just heinous. And the weakest part for me is when they repeat something. If I had to hear them tell Magneto, "There's good in you," I'm just gonna punch the screen. If I had to see him lose everything again. And I'm sick of Cerebro. Some of these things I'm just so done with. Like you said, the quick silver scene, which is the funniest part. And I was a little okay. I tolerated the reveal in the middle, which they show in the trailer, which is the Wolverine coming out. Because we got the helmet, we got some action, because there's not that much until the end where it just goes on forever. And apart from that, in terms of positives, I just as an X-Men fan, I like when I saw something that was X-Men. I like seeing that round sphere around Magneto. I thought they explained that very well with all the metal. I like they finally said, you know, if you can control magnetism, why can't you control the ground? That's really all it is. It's just compressed, you know, grounds. That makes sense. I like seeing Psylocke's, you know, sword. You know, even the outfit as really kind of disrespectful it is when they're at Auschwitz. That looks. I'm just like, you know, if you're gonna go here, can you have a wardrobe change? Wear cloaks and you can't be right. You can't go there like this.
You can't go to Auschwitz in a unitard.
You just can't. No. Yeah, I say the strongest stuff seems to be was just kind of the build-up and kind of the hints at, hey, you know, this was kind of X-Men-y. Oh, there's the Blob. There's, you know, they're gonna bring out Nightcrawler. All the build-up seems to be the best in it, and the little hints like that was kind of the coolest stuff. I don't think it could pay off though because it's just too much going on. I think that's always a problem with the X-Men movies. It's just there's too many characters and they're trying to please so many people, and it's tough. I know it's tough. That's why I don't hate this movie, but it's still kind of a mess like a lot of the other ones.
I gotcha. Beth, some of your favorite stuff?
Well, the first favorite thing I had was the 80s game was on point. Like, one thing that these X-Men movies have done, these three movies, is when they're in the decade, they commit to the decade. And you saw, like, the little cameras they were using and their outfits and the music and everything. And it felt like they were actually, like, fully going into representing the decade with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek references. So I was all for that. That made me very happy.
No Dazzler. No Dazzler.
No Dazzler
that
record.
was sad. I would have killed. I saw there's a picture of one of them holding a Dazzler record. I'm like, no, I would have killed to see that.
Would you have loved to see Dazzler like in concert or something?
No, just the name reference.
It's a mall
in concert, yeah.
Like a mall appearance like Tiffany?
It's a crossover with her and Jem and the holograms. That'd be phenomenal, but, you know,
Yeah,
that would got.
like the scene with Quicksilver when Sweet Dream starts playing by Eurythmics and he's going in slow-mo. It is a repeat of from Days of Future Past, but that doesn't matter because the scene was awesome.
I think it was better than the
it was bigger. It was better. You saw more of his personality in there. He was kind of having fun with everybody.
Yeah, and he had more motivation with Magneto, knowing that that's his father and stuff too. So you connected with him a little bit more, I thought.
I did find it weird that no one thanked him afterward.
I think everybody was a little shocked.
Did you get my brother? I just saved like 300 people, and you're asking me.
You know, Singer's like, look, I cut like 3 hours out of this movie. Thanks. There you go.
And then the final thing that I like, because I mean, overall, again, it was okay. So finding things that I really liked is kind of few and far between.
Yeah.
But the thing that I like about the X-Men movies all around is that they find good actors and they commit. Like you had Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen in the original movies. And even in Last Stand, they were committing to their roles and they enjoyed their roles. And here you had some great performances. Michael Fassbender as Magneto.
He's always awesome.
He had the most predictable death scene in the world. The moment you saw that little girl, I'm like, you're freaking gonna die. But when it happened and he's sobbing, I was choked up. It still got to me because he's a good actor. Now, with that, there were a lot of bad actors in this, but the performances that stood out, I felt, were really, really good.
I like to say, by the way, just so I can get some hate comments, I snickered.
We have enough of those already.
I'm just gonna say.
I don't know if you've read any.
Or maybe I'll find a friend. Did anybody else snicker when that arrow went through the two of them? I laughed a little bit. I'm like, I know it's supposed to be sad. You know they're gonna die. And again, his performance is amazing, so it kind of makes up for it. But it's like, what are the chances that this arrow just happens to go that it hit anybody, but it would go through both of them? I just kind of looked at that and went.
Well, through both of them for an instant kill, and then he could not pull them apart. They were like wedged together.
It's like a shish kebab.
Oh,
I'm sorry, it was, but his performance made it work. But I laughed a bit.
Yeah. Positives for me, my favorite part is when Magneto took those two eye beams and made a big X in front of Apocalypse. Nice. Moving on to negatives. So, that's all I got. Moving on to negatives. I think there's probably more negatives than positives that people are going to point out from this. Let's start off with Beth. What was some of the stuff that you didn't like?
I'm gonna be brief. I don't want to go into a giant rant. But the first thing I didn't like was Jennifer Lawrence's performance. Okay. She's been good in the previous films, and she's a good actress, and I love her. But in this movie, she could not have cared less about being there. She had no engagement, no inflection in her voice. She had no motivation. Like in the final confrontation with Magneto, she's outside with him, with his son, pleading for him to come outside. And she just sounds, like I told you guys before, like she sounds like she's trying to order something from Burger King. Like there was no...
And fries! Fries!
Her final line is, "You're not students anymore. You're X-Men." And she just sounded so bored. And compared to Days of Future Past, where it was starting to decline, but compared to First Class, when she was engaged and she was
her first
interesting.
big movie, right? That was
Yes.
pre-Hunger Games, wasn't it?
Yeah, like she needs to, she's getting too big for
think
her
it was.
britches, and it's starting to show in the performances. And that just made me really upset.
I don't think she's getting too big for her britches. I just think she just really didn't want to do this movie, and she was under contract to do it, so she just didn't
She
really
just
give a
phoned
shit.
it in.
Yeah,
But
it's not that she's big for her
But phoning
britches. She
it
just
in
wanted
from,
to do other
she's
stuff.
getting millions of dollars to do this. Like
Yeah.
at one, you look at like Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart. They had to do X-Men: The Last Stand, you guys, and they still put in their all. You had Hugh Jackman in The Last Stand. You had all these great actors in The Last Stand. They put in their all, even though that was garbage script. It's like she's given a script that's fine, that's good in some places, and she just couldn't be bothered to turn in a decent performance.
And there must have been something in her contract, or she made a request. She was like, "Look, you put me in this blue makeup as little as friggin' possible, because
Yeah.
she's barely in it."
Yeah.
That's almost understandable too. I mean, I'm sure that takes up a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, I always, I don't know if I'm the odd person now. I always thought the blue makeup looked kind of silly.
Really?
Honestly,
thought
yeah.
it
I
looked
mean,
well.
I guess the original Mystique looked kind of silly too. I mean, again, it's a comic, I get it, but I like when it's not on, because you can see more of the emotion. You can see when she is emoting, when she does it. So I kind of like that. You can see more of that coming out. That is one of the reasons I thought Days of Future Past really worked, is because she has to be in disguise a lot of the time, and you can see when she's talking to someone, you can see the little subtle nuances in her face.
Right.
This makeup job for this one is much thicker than what they did for Rebecca Romijn Stamos. Well, now Rebecca Romijn in the original films. Like it was a lot thinner, and I think it looked better in those films. The only other thing I really want to mention is the whole Stryker scene.
Yeah,
That-
I'm 100% agree
Pardon the
with that.
pun, it should have been stricken out entirely.
I agree with you.
The only reason, it completely hijacks the movie. It literally kidnaps our protagonist and takes him
Far off.
far away in like
To a
5
far off
minutes.
land.
that trip should have taken like 10 days. And they're kidnapped, and the kids go rescue them, and the only purpose was for that Wolverine reveal.
Yeah.
And to set up
Right.
the post-credit scene, but I think
Right,
they
but
could
yeah,
have done
but
that.
that's-
I
yeah,
think
they
that-
could have
that
done
They
could
could
have
have
been-
done it another way.
You could have rewritten that another way.
Well, they could
Yeah.
have literally had them showing up in the Stryker lab at the very end. You see Wolverine as he's leaving, or you see him still in the cage, and they grab it. Like
Actually,
they
it would
could
have
have.
been a badass
No.
post-credits
How
scene.
about
know?
You just see all the
after the
destruction.
credits, if you wait, suddenly here's Wolverine escaping, and they just play that scene as it was, like all the action
that's
scene.
a
You're just
lot.
like, I was ready to go, and now here's this huge, gory,
Yeah.
bloody scene. It's like that shit would have been really clever. The more I
Yeah.
think about
Yeah,
it.
I'm sure they wouldn't have. They want to put him in the main movie if Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman's going to be in it. I thought it might have been cool for a post-credit scene if they just show all the destruction like they did, and then they could still allude to Wolverine being out there and stuff.
Yeah, they just imply that he was there. They didn't need
Yeah.
this whole scene.
Where is Weapon X now? Oh, we don't know.
We don't
Cut.
know. Yeah, that would have been cool. Been a nice
Yeah.
tease.
Well,
Yeah.
and let's be honest. I mean, we were talking about this before. Because according to Singer, just rewriting everything, which I'm not against, but he's like, okay, no, X-Men 1 and 2 still happen, but 3 doesn't. And it's like,
Yeah.
that now makes no sense, because Jean meets up with Wolverine, gives him back his memories, and then when they
Right.
meet up in the first
And
movie, it's like,
Cyclops.
hey, remember that guy when we were kids? The world
Yeah.
almost blew up and everything. I think I remember that guy, this dude, and Wolverine's like, I remember World War II, and I don't know who you are. I have no clue. I mean, and it's all this stuff where it's like it doesn't match up. And for a movie series that's trying so hard to rewrite it and say, oh, and see, it matches up, it so doesn't. I think because they do
Also,
try to shoehorn this
if you're
stuff.
following the original films, it is essentially a meet cute when she is an underage teenager,
yeah,
which is freaking creepy.
no, I agree. It's like, I'm going to be attracted to you in a few years. Great.
Hopefully you're of age, and then I won't go to jail.
Right. Porter, what's some of your negative thoughts on this one?
Apocalypse was just very bland. He was too regal.
Regal?
He was
He should have been purple. I mean, just go all Ivan News.
he was just so proper and just bland and very. Yes, I'm going to take over the world.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, where's the savagery? Where's the badass? You know, where's your hand turning into a freaking saw and chopping something in half? Like, where is any of that? Where are you getting bigger in reality instead of the dream sequence?
I love
we said?
that.
You know,
to his credit, though, I think just waving that finger and a whole room of people are dust. That's not badass. I thought that was pretty.
A whole room of people are dust, or he drops them into the ground, or he puts someone in the wall. What did he say? Oh, I've got like pretty much like every power of every mutant I've ever been in contact with. And it's like, dude, if you've got every power of every mutant, like you could do so much more. You could do so much with against these characters to really
accept. He likes torturing them by leaving them alive in walls.
He made a freaking force field and he moved some shit, and that was it. Like,
you know, the one thing. Remember, he said that the one power that's eluded him is like Professor X's telekinesis or whatever.
He had to have come across someone like that.
No, but then remember when he was telepathy.
Yeah.
When Professor X was using Cerebro to get through to Magneto, he like hijacked it, so he has that power already, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think he amplified it, and then he was telling him.
And he doesn't have it to the whole world like Professor X did. Professor X was able Xavier was able to connect to everybody. And
if he had Cerebro, though, wouldn't he?
He acted as Cerebro, I think, because he's like, I can't reach anybody, and he's like, oh, blah, blah.
Okay.
So he kind of like tapped in because
he's also very old. He probably didn't know the Cerebro was a thing that could exist. You know.
It's just he was.
He's only learning came from a TV.
Yeah. It was 80s TV too.
Yeah.
Come on. How
He's just incredibly boring, and like he just had nothing. He just didn't do anything really. And then at the big final pivotal scene, he's got a shield. He's got a shield up. Okay. Are you going to fight? Are you going to fight?
That's why he has his 4 horsemen.
Who also really did not do shit.
Also, how does he die? I'm sorry, like, you know, you see like someone practically cut his head off and he like puts it back together. I'm like, oh crap, well they're not gonna be able to kill this guy, and then like just all these powers go on me, it's like, I'm dead. It's like
the Phoenix power disintegrated him.
Why? How? What?
I
don't know.
What's that? So she's stronger than Apocalypse?
Yep.
Well, she is a
Phoenix,
Omega level mutant.
Yeah,
is that?
You know what? And he's not.
I didn't know.
I don't know. With all of that, it's like, wouldn't you? And on top of that, wouldn't you be looking at Jean like, you know, thanks so much. Just gonna put you unconscious here for the rest of your life. There you go. Yeah, we kind of had a big deal with this Apocalypse guy. I mean, I'd be scared shitless.
Was anyone else weirded out by the fact that Apocalypse sent a bunch of nuclear warheads into space, and they're gonna blow up there, and they're going to cover the whole world with radiation?
Another trailer tease, because everyone saw that, like, oh my God, world's gonna blow. No, just. Bye.
I thought that was the whole point of Apocalypse was going to destroy the world and make it a better one. That thing, and then he just nuked the space.
He stole the plot from Superman 4.
He's the old
Snyder and him.
Apocalypse is the ultimate hippie. He was all in favor of nuclear disarmament. That was his whole mission, you guys.
That was his whole thing. Anything else you?
I don't know.
Negative.
I could go on, but yeah, that was stupid. Scott, I didn't really like him as the actor who did Scott. I thought he was kind of.
At least they put more into him than in the first two movies.
A little boring. The whole Stryker scene could have just done without that. That was incredibly stupid. Archangel was very underutilized.
Once again, gypped.
Storm was incredibly underutilized.
I thought it was going to be a big deal in this, and
the actress was good.
She was.
And she looked awesome.
She looked good.
I loved the mohawk. I loved her suit. Like, she looked great. Her powers looked cool when she used them. Incredibly underutilized. You know, even Psylocke was underutilized, and she was very just bland. I'm bad. You know, just
kind of.
I'm bad.
I waited for Psylocke, man. I was waiting for that character.
She looked
great. She's just that character.
Yeah.
You know,
she looked awesome, and I love how Olivia Munn had a lot of. She
Yeah.
had a lot of input into the costume. She's like, I want it to be very. Like the original comics.
That's cool.
And I was like, that was great. And the costume looked great, and her powers looked great, and she looked good. But she was underutilized.
She did look a little out of place when next to the other guys. It's like, one of these things is not like the other. Because they're all in like silver and black and dark blue, and she's like a giant,
she's
bright
a cosplay.
Purple. Right. Exactly.
It looks like the comic, but it's like, again, they're not totally doing the comic, you know? And I think that's the big weakness of this film, and really kind of the films as a whole.
Yeah.
They just can't do, you know, the comic straight up at a time when now you can. You know, I really think this series just needs a reboot, and I'd like to see it go to MCU, but if you're not going to do that, just restart it. You know, I mean, just start fresh. I mean, some of these actors are really good, but it's like there's plenty of good actors out there. I think you can do it now. We've had movies like Deadpool come out and, you know, be 100% as faithful as possible, you know, like one of the highest grossing R-rated movies ever. And it's like, this is what people want to see. Why not give the people that?
Right. Is there any other things we haven't touched on that you didn't like?
I think it all just kind of ties back to that. I think all the kind of problems and stuff I get. I understand, why they had to go this route, especially when you start off in a universe like that. These movies came out. Really, when you think about it, it's very impressive how long these movies have been going, especially with the bad ones.
2000.
But, these came out when comic book movies were not popular. Nobody wanted to see them, so they had to kind of be in a semi-reality. And now they're slowly trying to work their way into that comic book world, but you've set up this world. And even when you totally wipe the slate clean, and try to start over, it's like you still have this universe you have to, play the part in. And I think that's just a big disadvantage to X-Men now with all these other movies coming out. I really think they should just restart. Even though I think this movie's okay, but it's like, I feel like we've seen it. We've seen this X-Men, and I think the only other major thing I'll say about it, I think is a big weakness, is that, for me anyway, I don't like Cyclops. I don't like Jean Grey. I don't really get into Archangel. Nightcrawler, I can do okay, but these are the main characters, and that's why I'm one of the few people, I'm one of the terrible people that didn't mind X-Men 3 that bad, because it got rid of all the characters I don't care about. And we brought in Kelsey Grammer as Beast, and I'm like, okay, cool, and stuff was happening. And yeah, I kind of feel like, one of those critics or somebody said, if I have to see Peter Parker get bitten by the damn spider one more time, it's the same thing here. If I have to see Cyclops, what, boom, and I have to see Jean, I can't sleep, I'm just too powerful, and Magneto, just like they all deserve to die. No, you're wrong, am I? I mean, we are just so done with that.
You can't really call her Jean Grey, to be perfectly honest. You got to call her Jean Stark, because she was essentially Sansa Stark with an American accent. In fact, I wanted them just to rewrite Jean Grey with a British accent, because I'm like, she was a good Jean Grey, but she was struggling with that American accent for a good portion of it.
Was it just me, or did it seem like a lot of that movie was VO'd? Like, even parts unnecessarily? I don't know, maybe it was
VO or ADR?
Well, yes, ADR.
Same thing. ADR.
Oh, okay.
Replacing the onset audio with voiceover.
Oh, absolutely.
It seemed it was more noticeable than, I know that happens a lot in movies, but it seemed more noticeable to me, more often. Did anybody else pick up on that?
Yeah, I heard.
And with her too, with Sophie Turner, it seemed like every line she was saying, maybe she couldn't get the accent down on set and they had to
redo, yeah.
Maybe that was it, but I thought that kind of stuck out to me a little bit.
Final B for me, why did the Stryker facility have a beast-shaped flight suit? And why did they have ones with boob jackets, with boob pockets, when it was only small men at that whole Stryker facility?
And they just happened to fit them all perfectly.
Yep. Hey, look, flight suits. Hey, we got our wardrobe.
Yep, that's it.
One thing I did that I really didn't like was just, it's not really the movie, it's the general tone of all the movies. Okay, we got 60s, and we had 70s and Days of Future Past.
They don't
we got
look any
80s
older,
now.
by the way.
20 years from X-Men First Class to now, and it's like, nobody looks
Nobody is
older.
aged.
All of them had a little bit of that Wolverine blood.
Yeah,
And now
the next movie they could steal.
Yeah.
The next movie they say they're going to be in the 90s. It's like, okay.
Then we should
So it's
have
gonna
Patrick
be-
Stewart then,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's going to be 30
Can we get
years.
Patrick- I like James McAvoy. Can we get Patrick Stewart back though?
Yeah.
Just ask.
I was going to say, by the time they hit the 2000s, it's like, no, you have to get Patrick Stewart now, because that's when these movies came out.
And they're like, no, we're never not doing it.
Yeah. So I really don't like that.
your
And then
timeline.
I don't like where they're potentially going with the Essex Corp. Nathaniel Essex is, Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
And I don't really know a lot about Mr. Sinister, but what I've read, he was boring as shit, and I didn't like him. And I know that Nathaniel Essex met Apocalypse in the early 1900s or whatever, and that's how he gets his white skin and his immortality.
Yeah.
So now, okay, we just saw that Apocalypse has not been on Earth since, or not been around since Egypt, so
Yeah.
that's not there. So somehow Nathaniel Essex, if he comes up, is going to get his immortality and his white skin in another way. And he's responsible for, this could tie into Deadpool, he's responsible for Cable because he makes a clone of Jean Grey,
right.
and he gets Scott to be with Jean Grey, and that's how we get Cable. And so that could be a tie-in, but I really don't like where this is heading, and how they took the Weapon X DNA, and it's like, okay, are you guys going to be responsible for X-23? I don't think.
That's why I thought they were
I'm pretty sure that he had nothing to do with X-23 in the comics. So it's like, are you going to just have him do X-23 now?
I like to
because
see
Wolverine's-
X-23. I love to see her in a movie. I think that'd be awesome.
I gotta be honest, since I hadn't read the comic books, I didn't understand what that teaser scene was. When I first saw it, I was like, oh no, they're bringing back that mutant weapon again from X-Men The Last Stand. They're bringing back the mutant antidote. No.
Shot and they-
No, that's just Mr. Sinister, which actually I'm kind of excited to see. I think that's probably the one, more than Apocalypse, I think cinematically that could be a cool looking villain. I think you can really have fun with it. You don't have to do the exact white face, but just the overall design I think you can have fun with. The last thing I'll say in terms of a positive, I like Nightcrawler in this. I thought they got a good person to play that. I thought he was likable, I thought he was funny, and I'm just like, okay, even in X-Men 2 and this one, his powers make no sense. He's like, I have to see where I'm going. You just went like 20 buildings down, looking the wrong way, back into the plane. You did that like 8 times in X-Men 2. He's like, I'm gonna go past this wall. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. It's like, it's 2 steps, come on.
But it's also, he said that he has to have
Places he's
been there or seen. So if he has a mental picture of the place, whatever it is, I mean, obviously, like in X3, he's hopping around in the White House, or X2, he's hopping around the White House, and it's like, he would have seen all of the interiors of the White House, because everybody can see that.
Okay, how about when he catches Rogue? He has to see outside the plane and be like, oh, there she is, shoom.
Yeah, maybe that, or, he could have just popped out like, I want to be outside, and boom, he's outside,
I want to be outside.
Yeah.
I never got that, but I thought he was good in this. I thought every time he was on screen, I'm like, I like this dude. This dude's cool.
He liked going to malls.
Yes.
That's a perfect transition to the character performance standout. So Nightcrawler, we agree, is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else, Doug, that you really latched onto or didn't like, character or performance-wise?
Like I said, all the actors are fine. I'm always shocked how much. Again, I just love James McAvoy. I think he's a phenomenal actor.
Really good.
So good.
Except for Wanted, if anybody's seen that movie.
I liked him in Wanted.
But aside from that, because I think Professor X, honestly, is kind of a boring character. If you go into his past, it's like, okay, he's got some cool stuff, but he's kind of a boring. He makes him so interesting. The dude that does Magneto, again, seen that a million times, but he makes it feel fresh. And even though he's done it a million times, he can still be like, wow, this is something new. It's just none of the X-Men I find that interesting. And I think that's why, even though the Snyder Striker stuff is totally pointless.
Get Snyder on the brain.
Come on, guys. Let me take over this. Come on. Give it to me, Fox.
But that is the one thing where I'm like, okay, I saw an X-Men I really wanted to see because I always love Wolverine, and I saw Psylocke, but the guy ran her really fast. Anything that I'm like, oh, cool, is purely just selfish. It's not like it's actually needed or good in the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I like that character.
Gotcha. Okay, Beth, I know you want to go into more about your Jennifer Lawrence thing.
Well, I want to start by saying the one I like was Quicksilver.
Quicksilver's
was
awesome.
fun.
My favorite part of the whole movie.
He gave us some much needed brevity. I liked Beast. I wish he was Beast more. I felt like they almost gave it like, oh, I have this pill that I can, this injection I can take to prevent me because they can't afford the costume.
Right. He's got the same contract as Lawrence.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know, but
there's this new blue contract going around the X-Men movies, like signed the anti-blue contract.
Right.
And I do have to admit, the Beast makeup was so much better with Kelsey Grammer. Like I feel like he looked so ragged, like it was fished out of a bargain
That is Beast
bin.
to me. Like this dude's fine, but it's like that's Beast. Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
He is, but I feel the actor is still good, and I feel he's continued to be good. But as far as, I think I've already talked enough about Jennifer Lawrence. So the character of Mystique, I love the character of Mystique. I think she's really interesting, and I feel like putting her on that balance between good and evil is interesting. I feel like it's almost a copy paste of what Magneto is going through. It's almost like we're going through it twice with 2 different people.
Yeah.
In the exact same way. It's just, she's still hanging on to being an X-Men because they still want her to star in the next movies. Mm-hmm. But if this is how she's going to be in the future, like when Apocalypse was choking her, I thought she was going to die, and I was like, yes.
I was kind of hoping she would.
Goodbye, Mystique. You clearly don't want to be in this movie anymore, Jennifer Lawrence.
I think that's what they were building up. The Dollars to Donuts, they shot a version where she dies in case, like, something with contracts or something.
You think so?
I'm sure. Because I thought she even said this was going to be her last X-Men movie.
That's what I heard too.
That's what I remember hearing. So I think they were even building that up, like, we might get rid of her. To her credit, the one thing I'll say a little in her defense is that she's supposed to be this big hero. Like, everyone has seen her, and they're like, oh, you're the one that said no, and you turned away and disappeared and stuff. She's like, I'm no hero. She's pretty much doing Katniss again. But it makes a little sense why she would be a little quieter and not quite as big and kind of to herself, is because she's been in the limelight now. She's trying to be very much inward, and she's given her her emotions and everything to other people before, and it hasn't worked for her. So I kind of get that. But like you said, when she has to really emote and be loud, it feels flat. It does feel kind of flat.
The one scene I want to bring up as, in my opinion, the perfect example of why she wasn't trying was the airplane scene. When she's talking with Jean Grey, and Jean Grey is scared and terrified of her first mission, and then she's like, I was scared on my first mission, like you. It was hard. And she sounded like she was trying to decide between phone carriers. That was a scene where she is literally reconnecting, because, yeah, you're right, she is distant throughout the whole thing, and that makes sense. But if this were the moment where she came back around, it was like, I used to be scared too, but I had to learn to let go. And you see that emotion come through, then it would have all made sense. But she didn't. She just did the same distant, uncaring performance as she did the whole entire movie. So I'm putting it entirely on her, not on the writing.
Okay. Porter, any standouts for you character-wise?
Yeah, obviously, Professor X and Magneto were always great, so that's, don't even talk about that. But Quicksilver was cool. I did like him.
Yep.
I kind of thought it was, I don't know, with the whole saving in the school thing with all them, I thought it was a little long. It's like, okay, we get it. You're fast.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that scene.
I mean, it was cool. It was cool looking in this and that, but also it was just like, okay, we get it. You're fast. Let's keep going. This is a long ass movie, isn't it?
But it was fun.
That was like the only part I was like up for. Everything else was
And the way that they choreographed it with the music, I thought was great.
Yeah.
It flowed with that song was the perfect song for that
really
scene.
was.
And I feel like it flowed so well.
Right. I like when he fought Apocalypse for a second too. When he just stands in front, I was like, oh, this guy looks weird, and he punches him in the face.
He punches him like 5 times.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was pretty funny. But then again, it's also like with Quicksilver, it's like, is he really that fast? I don't remember him being that fast in the comics, but that's just a little comic book nitpick. But
He's the speed of light in the comics, so I'm sure.
I guess, yeah. But other than that, Nightcrawler was cool. I liked him. I really thought they were going to delve into Mystique being his mom. Like, that totally, he was like, oh, you're her, and this and that. Like, it could have been because of the whole TV stuff, but it could have been like, hey, aren't you that chick who's my mom? Like,
Is
I'm
she
who,
his
like-
mom in the movies?
No,
comics.
in the comics.
Yeah, but I'm saying that there's no way she's going to be his mom in the movies.
No, but
Why
they
not?
rewrote it.
Oh, actually, totally could be his mom in the movies because of Azazel in X-Men First Class, the red teleporter dude. Like, she left with them, and they were how many years before we saw? 10 years. So in any of those
20
times,
years ago from.
Yeah, that is true.
So it was
in my
10
math-
years.
And
so,
Nightcrawler is pretty young in this.
yeah,
too.
he looks like he's like 19, 20, and so it totally could have worked. Or 18 or something like that. It totally could have been them two getting together right after First Class, and then boom, she has a kid. Oh crap, I have a kid, and I'm with a supervillain. How about I give him up? And he's blue, so let's just give him up.
And he's blue.
Yeah, so
if you're
he's
gonna
blue
do the
like
Quicksilver Magneto thing anyway, I'm kind of with you because that was pretty pointless. Maybe they'll do something with it, but they're gonna do that. I'm kind of with you. Why don't we just go balls to the wall? Just
Yeah,
do
like
it.
I thought they were going to do that, or at least give more of a nod to it, because that would have been really cool. Because, I mean, he's blue like her, and he's got the teleportation thing like some dude that she was with 10 or 20 years ago. It's like, let's put 2 and 2 together. Yeah,
Oh, wait,
okay.
you're talking about Nightcrawler. That I thought you were saying Quicksilver.
No,
Because I remember
Nightcrawler.
the Nightcrawler was
No, that'd be
Mystique's son
interesting.
in the TV show.
Yeah.
Like I do remember that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, did she get with Magneto?
Oh, no.
Because Magneto's his dad. I got so confused for a
Well, I think
second.
they were hinting at that with the other movies anyway. I mean, even Singer was like, yeah, I mean, we're not saying anything, but they're pretty friendly, aren't they? They're always kind of buddy-buddy, aren't
Yeah.
they? Like Mystique and Magneto, yeah. So I mean,
seemed like
that would be kind of an interesting twist.
Yeah.
All right, so many things make more sense to me now.
Yeah, we talked about Beast a little bit earlier. The whole point of Beast is part of his character is the tragedy that he doesn't look like a human being anymore. So like taking that away and just saying, oh, he could just look like a human being anytime. Nicholas Hoult, maybe they needed FaceTime. Maybe that was in the contract too.
That was in the comics. He did have. There was something where he either could inject himself to look normal, or like he let out something that looked like a gas or something that made him look human to everybody else. I know that was in the comic once or twice. Where he
Right. Well,
something
I'm sure like here and there, but this has been like 10 years since Days of Future Past, and he was like that already. I mean, but that's a big part of his character. Like a big part of his psychology is that he doesn't feel like he can fit in with people, even though he's unbelievably smart. That's one of the things I thought is his aesthetic appearance. So I don't know. Maybe they'll. When he gets older or something.
And the only reason he
It's like
fights
that.
as Beast in the end is because he didn't
He
bring
did-
a spare
I didn't bring
injection
my
with
pills
him.
or whatever. Yeah.
Well,
They're
that's
going
always something I kind of
crazy.
admired about Beast as well as that. You're right, he does stand out, probably more than any of the other X-Men, but he was always very positive and upbeat, and he had his intelligence. He's like, well, why would I care? I have science, I have the universe, I haven't had, was something to kind of admire, but they throw it away for this different kind of beast.
Well, like you remember Kelsey Grammer's opening scene,
he was
his
just
first
so
reveal, and he was like upside down
he was
reading
doing the
literature.
thing, right, yeah.
And that was so cool.
Right, he's gotten over it by then where he's accepted his appearance. So we never really saw the, I'm a monster thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That affects him. But, and yeah, Quicksilver, make a freaking Quicksilver movie, man. Damn it. Okay.
In the 80s.
Yeah, whatever, just make it, I want to see it. Last thing we're going to talk about here. Are you guys excited for more X-Men movies? I'm pretty sure they're going to be making more. We have Old Man Logan pretty sure almost confirmed for the last Wolverine movie. Are you guys looking forward to that, Doug?
Only for selfish reasons. Only because I want to see Omega Red. I want to see Sabretooth done right. I want to maybe Mr. Sinister in that movie. Who knows in that Wolverine. But I'm really done with X-Men movies. Like, I'm curious about the 90s. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
They'll do some 90s jokes. But yeah, I think with how quickly everybody in the MCU is moving towards what comic books are and making them so smart and just going all out with the costumes and everything, I really think that needs to be done with X-Men. I need just wipe the slate, not like what they did in Days of Future Past. I mean, literally new actors, new setups, new backgrounds, everything. Like what they're doing with Spider-Man and such. And I think we can really get just something new, something fun, because I just really feel it's kind of losing the steam. And, it's great for what it did to get eyes on comic book movies and stuff, but it's like I want a real comic book movie. I want a real X-Men movie. Deadpool is still the closest X-Men movie I've seen. I want something that's more X-Men. Damn it.
I got you, Porter.
I'm not like super excited going forward, especially with the whole Nathaniel Essex Company stuff and all that. I'm not really excited, but with them being in the 90s, the only way I'll be really excited for that is if they do 90s X-Men 92 cartoon style. Like if we get a yellow and blue suit for Wolverine, and
you can't do that in this universe though. That's why. That's why it pisses me off. I want to see that too, or the brown or whatever.
We get a real Gambit, we get a real Rogue and everything. Like if we do it 90s style,
dude, Wolverine
in the movie,
so has to move to Seattle and join a grunge band.
If we do that, like I'll be like super on board. But other than that, I'm like, okay, well, I'll see what it's. I'll see it, but I'm not exactly like super hyped for it.
Okay.
So,
Beth?
So the X-Men movies, again, as someone who hasn't read the comics, they really hold a special place in my heart because they were some of my first exposure to bringing comic books to life on the big screen to a mass audience. Because it was one of the first real comic book movies to come out in the modern era after Blade. So I was too young for Blade. It was rated R. I couldn't see it.
It was during the dead.
Yeah, it was during the dead era. It helped bring it to life.
Yes.
And so, as stupid as like Last Stand is, those three movies really hold a special place for me. So I will always go and see the main X-Men movies, even if I don't think they're very good. And I'm not thinking the next one's going to be very good. But unlike the Superman Justice League movies where I could not give less of a crap about seeing any more of those, I will continue to see X-Men movies just because this series has meant a lot to me. So, but I'm not anticipating much from it.
I got you. The one thing I'm looking forward to, and it's a perfect segue into our pick of the week, is the Old Man Logan thing that I know you're not excited about it, but I think you're crazy because the Old Man Logan story is my favorite X-Men story, and the premise is freaking great. So if the rumors are true with the Wolverine, the last Wolverine movie being Old Man Logan, then I'm very excited to see how they take that on. It's not going to be exactly like the comic because there's a ton of characters that they don't have the rights to that Marvel has.
Most of the characters, like 90% of the characters.
Shut up.
So you have to pretty much change the entire story. But
maybe they can get Ghost Rider.
Someone sounds a little cynical and upset.
We'll fight about this later, and it'll be good. But I mean, the whole premise is really cool. Like it's a post-apocalyptic kind of future, and Wolverine is an old man Logan, and he's like going around, sort of getting revenge on what happened to his family, kind of like the same thing that happened with Magneto in this movie. So maybe that's why I didn't like that either, because it was like, I know what's going to happen. But yeah, so this is the pick of the week. It's Wolverine, Old Man Logan. My favorite X-Men book. Go ahead and check it out. It is such a different twist on everything.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of different turns that happen here that you don't really see coming. Wolverine hasn't popped his claws in years and years at the beginning of this, and when he finally does, there's a huge splash panel, and it's so
yeah,
cool.
it's insane. It's such a good book. Like, it's one of the
love
best
it.
Wolverine stories ever.
I want to say I haven't read this. I was just flipping through it before we started. It looks amazing.
Oh, it's
it looks
crazy.
really freaking
Yeah.
amazing.
It looks very graphic.
Oh,
It
it's
is super
incredible.
graphic.
You would pass out from
Yeah,
page
no,
one.
I'm not.
It's not for the squeamish, but
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Oh man, it's so cool. I love this book, and I want to reread it. Honestly, I haven't
Yeah,
read it in
it's,
a while.
I haven't read it in a while either.
Yeah.
Can I borrow it, by the way?
I
really want to read it.
Is there any final thoughts you guys have about X-Men Apocalypse you wanted to get out here?
I say if you like the first okay movies, it's an okay movie.
Okay.
Half of the world gets destroyed, but no one decides to hunt Magneto afterward because he changed his mind about it.
Oh, and Storm's an X-Men. They totally let that go. You're gonna help destroy the world? Hey, come join us. You're okay. You're okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh, and I found it weird. I'm sorry, I'm just throwing this out there. I found it weird that the only reason Storm stops fighting is because she sees Apocalypse break Quicksilver's leg, and she's just like,
Gotta destroy the world.
they've been destroying, killing millions of people in Cairo. So many people died. Oh no, this guy got his leg broken. I feel conflicted.
Any final thoughts, Porter?
If you want to go see a 2-hour and 24-minute movie and be mildly bored, go ahead.
I'd
If you're an
say
X-Men
Get
fan,
entertain at
comfortable.
times.
It's got like a 48 or 49% Rotten Tomatoes, so it seems pretty split with who likes it and who doesn't. So maybe
It was
like it as
okay.
well.
I mean, it
It
wasn't,
wasn't terrible. I don't
Yeah,
think
it wasn't
anybody thinks it's a
terrible.
terrible
No,
movie.
no, it wasn't even necessarily bad. It just wasn't good.
It was
Right.
a little drawn out and a little boring in spots. So I mean, prepare for that. But other than that, it wasn't terrible.
I gotcha. Okay, social media for everybody. We'll start with Doug. You got that public Facebook, don't you?
Yes. I'm sure the link is here. There. Haha. That'll be fun for editing.
Again,
Follow my finger. It's right there. You're there.
No, probably not. Porter.
Facebook.com/AwesomePorter and Awesome Comics page on Facebook. So.
Yes, make sure you like that. He's going to be reviewing Arrow Season 4 pretty soon.
Yeah, and I just put up the my little review on DC Universe Rebirth #1, which was fantastic. If you haven't read that, go out and read that. And I'll be reviewing like that series a little bit more as it comes out and other stuff from Rebirth. So look for that on the Facebook page.
Absolutely. Beth, where can we find
All
you?
right, y'all can find me on Twitter at Beth Alderkin, and you can find Shark Jumping Show, youtube.com/Shark Jumping Show. Our latest review is of Generation X, which is the 1996 made-for-TV movie that is officially the first actual live-action X-Men movie. So it's fun. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. You can always find me on Twitter at awesome_Walter. Also, we said it before, make sure you like that new Facebook page. There's a lot of exclusive content going up, a lot of individual comic book reviews. So I know a lot of you guys want to see us talk more about comics. There's a lot of stuff and a lot of time that we could take and putting on the Facebook page, just little videos talking about stuff.
I
So.
know coming up the next week, I think I got American Alien, Superman American
Yes,
Alien from
yeah.
Max Landis, which is a great series. And then
can't wait to read
I'll be
that.
finishing up Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from DC and IDW. So that was here's an epic finale. I got to read that, and then I'll be putting up a video for that.
Right. Ayana will be putting up videos in there too, who's not here this week, sadly. But it's okay, she'll be back next week when we will be reviewing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Who's excited for that?
I am. I am excited. I am excited for
Well,
that.
he's so
I
excited.
Sticky Bob and Rocksteady and Krang.
And he's going to be on the show to talk about it. Doug will be back, so make sure you tune in for that. So, for everybody here, these guys are awesome. I am Walter Bernasiak, and until next time, we will see you on the next page. Snick.